So just so you understand
thank you.
it.
Well, I'm glad because I've got an issue with you, and and when you gave me this opportunity, first of all, thank you for coming on the Gutfeld show. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It's a good show.
And I actually owe you an apology before we start. I've been very critical about you, how you fight all through the campaigns. I voted for you because I like policy. Right. I didn't know you as a man. And I think when you don't understand what a man fights for, you can get lost, especially with all the noise we're seeing from fake news, et cetera, who created these pictures from you.
There is noise.
So Gutfeld show's over. Cameras are off. We go backstage, and I expected you to be like every politician or anybody I've ever celebrity I've bodyguarded for, and you met my family, and you talked to my daughter. Mm-hmm. My daughter is 10 years old. Her name's Georgie. You guys talked for 20 minutes. If nobody knew, you could have been her grandfather. And you were talking about her horses and her dreams. And I was sitting there and I was like, I have been so wrong about this man because I never understood why you fight the way you fight. You're a family man.
Yeah, I am. Well, I am.
You're a father.
And your daughters are gorgeous, really, and your wife, the whole thing. I mean, you have got some setup, I'll tell you. But your family's great and you're great and you've really done something and you've captured a certain spirit. You know, a friend of mine who's very smart, he's also a very big guy. He said, because I'm big and strong, people think I'm not the smartest guy.
Oh, I know.
Okay? You are a really smart guy. And I see it and I've watched it and I like the show. And we have the privilege of having had the highest rating in the history of the show when I did it a couple of weeks ago. That was his highest
of all
rating.
time.
Of all time, yeah.
We beat network television.
You beat everybody.
And they were up 35 million homes.
Right. Yes.
And it was a landslide.
Yep.
Now, you're putting it on me. I'm throwing it back to you, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Why do we not hear more about Donald Trump, the father, the grandfather? And I did a deep dive. There are some of the things you have done that when they say those horrible things like he's Hitler, he's a racist, did they not forget in 1991 what you did with Nelson Mandela? Yeah. Would you care to share that? Because I would love to hear that.
I never talk about it.
No, you do not. And I know why, because you're a man.
Yeah. I mean, I just have great relationships with a lot of people. People say that, you know, a little bit like you do. I don't think it's a narrative the press likes. Maybe it's not even a narrative that I should have. We have to protect our country, and maybe we should let the other side. I don't even call them the enemy. I think we have more of an enemy from within than we do from outside. You know, if you have a smart president, they talk about China and Russia and everything else. If you have a smart president, they're not going to be the problem. We have a bigger problem from within, and they hate it. I noticed today they were saying, he said the enemy from within. Of course, it's Adam Schiff. These are bad people. These are sick people and bad people, and it's true. But I think it's a narrative that they don't like, frankly. I think the fake news, a term I think I came up with. I'm very proud.
Oh, you did. You coined it.
It's not
you
tough.
Should probably trademarked it, but you know, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I should trade.
I'm not going to give you business tips.
But you know, it's funny because it's a great term, but it's actually not strong enough because it's beyond fake. It's really bad.
Nelson Mandela and 80 of his constituents were trying to come to the United States.
Yeah.
The United States government wasn't helping him. No one was helping him. You chartered a 727 plane for their entire trip.
Yeah.
How was somebody, and it's crazy because you can talk about anything, and why is it hard for you to talk about the things you've done? It runs in your family. Your father helped build a synagogue. I mean, why do we not know those things?
It's something that I've never, I love doing it. I don't need praise for it. I don't, we all like a certain level of praise, but I've never, I just like helping people. I help a lot of people, and I enjoy doing it, and I never talk about it. It's nice that you bring it up. I also think it's not a narrative that the press likes talking about, for me.
But I think it would help a lot of the American people who have been misled, I myself included. Now, listen, I'm voting for you now because of the man you are, not just because of the policies, because not every American will get the opportunity that I had to saw who you were backstage. And that's why I have this list. I mean, I have testimonials. We can't go through all of them because
I want to see them.
Now, this was I had to dig deep.
I like that.
You donated $100,000 to raise dogs. You're not even a dog guy. Yeah. Explain that.
Well, that's Lara. So I have a wonderful, the wife of Eric, and she's a terrific person. You know, she's actually now a very big and important person in getting elected in the Republican Party. She comes from North Carolina. She loves the dogs. And I did that in her honor, actually. And, you know, if you listen to her, boy, dogs are treated very badly. They're, you know, some evil people having to do even with dogs. So I did that for my daughter-in-law, yeah, more so than me. I don't know that much about dogs, but I want to take care of them. And I had an opportunity. You know, as president, you can do a lot of things. I did a lot. The size of the kennels, the size of the cage. You know, there's like cages that they're in. And it's terrible. It's like you have no room, no nothing. And she came in with a whole group of people. These are people that really fight hard for dogs. I mean, you have people that fight. And she's a good person, so I did it for her.
I have hundreds of employees who have said things like, you've paid medical bills, you paid mortgages, rents, you've helped get family members. There's one story in here where a brother came in with a business plan, nobody would hear him. You gave him 10 minutes, you shook his hand and you cut him a check.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard for you and even your team? I'm a little upset. These are things that I think the American people need to know. And I get it, you're humble because you're a father first,
yeah,
and a grandfather. And that's something, again, one thing we need in this country is we need a father figure again. We need husbands and boyfriends and young men we need to see that fathers are capable of great things, because we've dealt with it, especially in the last 3.5 years, a complete dismemberment of what it is to be a man. We're under attack for everything.
We are. Well, actually, manhood is under attack. Yeah. I see things that are so beautiful, and the next day I see they're knocking the hell out of somebody for doing something that a day before I said, what a wonderful thing. No, we have to get back a little bit more. You know, the other thing under attack is religion. Religion was like the glue that kept this country together, and so many people are mocking it now. They mock it, and it just kept our country together. But it's absolutely under attack, and under attack by this administration. And you look at Kamala, she's worse than Biden. Biden he's out of it, okay?
Oh, yeah.
But she's actually not as smart as Biden. Biden was smarter than her. I think to this day he is. And I don't think the country can take a chance on having her. I think it's a tremendous, I don't even think it's a chance.
Well, let me ask you,
I think it would be a disaster.
Let me ask you the question that was posed to her last night that she refused to answer. You debated Biden the first time, and you debated him the second time. How much of a difference did you notice from the two?
So, are you talking about her and him, or are you talking about just him?
This is interviews about you.
Well, he was different. I think he had a really bad night. I don't think it...
Cognitively?
He had I don't know. He had a really bad, the second time.
Yeah.
I think he had a really bad time of it. So I debated him before, and he was okay. Look, I hit him hard. I asked him about $3.5 million. Remember when Chris Wallace was protecting him? Chris Wallace is not doing so well. Chris Wallace is not Mike. But I asked him about the 3.5 given to him by the mayor of Moscow's wife. I said, how do you justify this? And then I always have 2 or 3 people to debate. The last time I had David Muir.
I call them interventions.
Oh, they're terrible. Yeah. Well, David Muir, I said, crime is through the roof. It's way up. And he said, no, it's not. It's way down. The FBI said so. Well, the FBI didn't include a lot of places.
Funny how that is.
Yeah. The next day, you remember they announced that crime is up like 45%. So I was right. But I haven't gotten an apology from David Muir, but I don't watch him anymore. I haven't gotten an apology. No, I think Biden, look, the debate he had was not great. But I think that he's a step above her, actually.
Speaking of apologies, the brave men and women on the border, especially the horse division, that their lives were put in shambles. One of the things I have on my policy list was that, would you consider giving them a day at the White House, a moment to be recognized?
Are we talking where they were saying about the whips and everything else, which didn't exist?
Not just them, but their families. When the President of the United States comes out and condemns them.
You do it. You set it up. We win, I'm there, because that's it. We have to win. If we don't win, we're not going to have a country. You're right. They were brutalized. You know, it's interesting. These people are not smart, but they're vicious. They're very vicious. And you see it. It's like fascist. It's like Marxist. I don't know what the hell it is. But the level, look at me, the weaponization of the Justice Department. Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
America, again, this is not hyperbole. This is a guy, I don't fly private jets. I fly every airport I go to all over the country. 4 years ago.
Are you able to use like one seat? Because you are
first class. First class, of course. Yes, one seat. Yeah.
Well, that means you have to stay wealthy.
Well,
right?
Or keep billing Fox. One or the other.
That's even better.
But
I like that even better.
Outsource the bill. But again, it when I think about the verbiage and the things that are said about you, even after we don't even know how many assassination attempts there has been, but we know two. One of the things that when you, in that moment, when you stood up and you yelled, fight, 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 again, that's where I'm seeing the father. It wasn't about you. It was letting your family know you're okay, and you're more concerned about the people. But yet, I'm still waiting for the interview to talk to you about that. Why are we not sharing in that? That was a tremendous moment. I was in Oklahoma doing a stand-up show, and I thought I was going to cancel because I wasn't leaving the TV screen because I'm watching an assassination attempt on our president.
People were watching that. There's no question about it. That was a big deal.
But I went anyways to the show thinking no one would come, and they came. And instead of doing a stand-up show, I did a Q&A to talk about it. And there was a lot of veterans that were there that were talking about how much they support you and they believe in you, and that they were generally concerned. But they said they had no fear because when they saw you stand, you stood for them. Because veterans, our police, our first responders have been, forget the moral outrage of how they're treated. They've been the funding, stuff like that. Sure. And you have been doing some stuff with taxes. Yeah. Now, I did a little bit, and I'm not a mathematician, but I did a little bit of checking. One of the policies, like, would you consider thinking about for our veterans, for those who serve, for those of our police department, to where their taxation is the fact that they're giving their bodies to this country instead of having to pay taxes? None of these cities want to give them raises, so at least let them keep their money. You know, I've never heard that before, and it's like a very interesting thing. It's the kind of thing you would think of, right? Because they have been treated so terribly. It's going to take more than a hug. We need to, and here's the deal. If you're looking at serving in this country, in the military, or a police officer, or a firefighter, and you're young and you're coming up, and you don't have to pay taxes because you're paying it's almost an incentive to where we can get people interested. And other countries do that, as you do. Yeah. Other countries do that. Of course they do. In spades. It's something I would think about. It's something that nobody ever brought up. I've never heard it. It's interesting you're bringing it up. You're like my tax person there. But, something has to be done. Yes. And we have to attract people. I think you're the president to do it. Well, the military is now not attracting people. They're not going in. And I think it's because they don't respect the people at the top, the commanding officer. I mean, they're not, the commander-in-chief is not, I think you have to have, we were not having this problem 5 years ago. We have problems in the military right now. The one thing I will say, though, and I tell the story, we really did a great job with our military. I rebuilt the military, right? And we got rid of ISIS. And I got to know them during this very short period of time. It was supposed to take 5 years. We did it in about a month. Remember that? Yep. And I got to know the real military, not these guys that are woke and that are should I mention them? Yeah. I think we get it with the woke. No. Yeah. I'm knowing, trust me. With Millie and his statements. Yes. And I mean, look, I guess Mattis is a nice guy, but we have people in there that are much different. Not the people on television, the people that got rid of ISIS quickly. I was told it was going to take 5 years, and we did it in a matter of literal weeks. And I said, this is a great military. And by the way, they're not woke. You could never make them woke. These are guys, you will never, ever make them woke. But they did a great job. Great job.
These atheists, these feminists, these environmentalists, they all have one thing in common. They don't think that the quality of the character of someone really matters. Instead, they reduce you to the size of your wallet. They reduce you to the tax bracket that you're in. They reduce you to the amount of properties that you own. They reduce you to the degrees that you have behind your name. And so it's no wonder that men all around this country, policemen, firemen, veterans, truck drivers, construction workers, men are under attack. But when they attack the man, what are they really attacking? They're attacking the family. And when they attack Donald Trump, they're not just attacking Donald Trump. They're attacking our entire country. There are people among us who are trying to deface the character of our nation and destroy the souls within. It's a spiritual battle. It's a battle between good and evil, right versus wrong. Some of us see it, many don't. We can't force them to open their eyes, but we can stand up for what's right, we can lead our own lives, and we can bring America back to the place that it once was. It may be 2024, But this is a 1776 moment. God is real. God is with us. God is within all of us. And we're not going to back down. We're going to take America back. Let's wrap up this clip.
Now, you brought us Space Force.
Yeah.
And now partnering with Elon Musk and stuff, I think we're going to have some great things. But one of the things I've been very critical of this administration is that I think we need to have a school force. We need to make our schools hard targets. And there's no, again, looking for employment for our servicemen when they come out. Because I feel like what's happening in our schools isn't a police thing, it's a military thing. Because they are trained to look for these signs and stuff. If we had military, not necessarily military, but they'll be coming over if we use social workers, military police, and we each.
So let me ask you this. So what about teachers that are in the military and they're teachers, they leave the military, they become history teachers, they become math teachers, and they're in the room and they get to know the students and they know how to use a gun. You can't have people that don't have any idea about what to do with guns. But people that were in the military, that are in the classroom, and they have access to guns, whether it's on them or in a little safe or something. You know, the problem is if it's in a safe, it takes a long time to get it, right? So, you know, but sometimes I think, and I've heard that and I've thought about it a lot, and in some ways I like that more than just having police standing someplace in the building. Do you like that idea? It would be a small percentage of the teachers, like 5%, but that would be much more than you would ever have with...
Anything is better than nothing. Our banks are safer than our schools, and our greatest investment are our kids. So I have an issue with that. And here's the deal. I've learned a lot about this administration trying to get things done and talking to people. I speak with a lot of mayors and a lot of my travels and stuff. And this administration was supposed to be all about the environment and the Green New Deal and all that crap. But it's amazing. So you
notice how that stopped? I'm in the middle of a campaign, hopefully the end of a campaign, and it's going to be successful. But we're in a campaign. Nobody ever talks about the environment. They don't talk about it. They want clean air. They want clean water. This Green New scam is the worst thing that's ever happened. They're destroying the windmills all over the place. You fly over these gorgeous areas. You have windmills going all over.
You're not going to have any birds around. And the ones in the ocean are messing up the whales. Windmills were great back when we all had buggy whips, carts.
Yeah, they were much nicer then, actually. They were actually much nicer. No, when you think of what they've done, though, with all of the money that they spend, trillions and trillions of dollars, China does nothing, by the way, just so you understand.
No, China, India, absolutely not.
No, they don't do anything. And by the way, that flies right over our country. You do understand.
Yeah.
Those winds, 4.5 days, it's over. So here we are. It costs us twice to make a product, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And we're trying to keep everything nice and clean. But the wind's flying in from China, India, and every place else. It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, one of the things, the EP, one of the things that I was, because living in Louisiana, we have a horrible problem with sewage and water overfills and things like that. And the budget for, these mayors have this budget for the sewage. But yet nothing's ever done, right? These engineers and their plans are based off how much money they get opposed to solving the problem. So Mike Rowe told me about a company.
Good guy.
Oh, yeah. Mike, let me put my glasses on. I want to get this right.
I can't believe you wear glasses, huh?
50. Sewage Century, right? Brad Colbert, I believe you knew his father on the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
So they came up with this little tiny invention. It's like this, like a mushroom, a little ball in it. And when you put it in the manholes, it separates the gas, and the little ball comes up, and the water can't come out the manhole. So it doesn't. The sewage water doesn't spill into overflows. It costs $0.25. You don't need a committee for it. You don't need. You just put them in. I think one city was like $250,000 opposed to the $20 million they spent, and it pays for itself. As opposed to the $20 million they spent, and it pays for itself in a year, and it's done. So here I am in Louisiana, go, oh, this is great, and we have to form a committee. We have to do this.
Well, you have a great new governor in Louisiana. I bet you he'd take a look at it because your new governor, a Republican, is he was the attorney general. Now he's a governor. So if you give me that, I'll send it to him. Okay.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Why is that something? I mean, it's a big problem, and
it's a problem everywhere. Our drinking water, the fluoride in it, we're seeing, and then now we're seeing sewage, and it's a lot of autoimmune diseases are happening with our kids.
If you give me, I will send it, and I'll bet you get action.
I moved. One, because my daughter's an equestrian now and I had to move to New Jersey. But we eventually had to move because not only that, what we're seeing with the hurricane storms, the insurance companies jacking it up. Now, I'm blessed to make a good living, but I'm not paying $300,000 a year in house taxes. So I made
insurance is one of the biggest increases, and it's happened in the last 4 years. People are going crazy with the insurance costs. And I say, what about self-insurance? You know, sometimes people are better off with self-insurance. They can't afford the insurance. And then the problem is when you need the insurance, they don't want to pay. And they negotiate, right? They say, we're not going to pay you. And you end up getting 5 cents on the dollar. It's a problem. Yeah. It's a real problem.
And, you know, I know you have a million things to do, but father to the grandfather, I would like to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I made a mistake with my child, my daughter, when she wanted to get an equestrian. I was supposed to tell her she was allergic. I didn't do that to horses because it's expensive. It's unbelievable. And you guys talked a lot about it. Now, my daughter's now going to Wilmington, Florida to compete. Okay. And I had to move the horses down there.
So she's very good, right?
Very good. Like I'm in. I'm in.
Good.
Yeah. After this is over, I'll be sweeping this place up.
Good.
Every extra dollar.
Good.
But your granddaughters and your family, did they ride horses as well? Did they do equestrian?
Not too much. They like it. They do it maybe a little bit, but not like your daughter. No, your daughter's supposed to be very, like you, a talented athlete, right?
Yeah.
You can see it. Now I've heard that.
Yeah, my son plays baseball at travel leagues. I'm the GM. The way I look at it, if you're the first one in, last one to leave, daddy invests. Right. I just forgot to put a salary cap.
The
a little cheaper.
A little bit less.
It never ends, though.
It never ends.
No. But we're going to be in Wilmington. How far is Wilmington from Mar-a-Lago?
So Wilmington is about 20 minutes away.
Can I get a group rate?
Yes. You're going to come over. We're going to have dinner with your daughter and your family, your wife. We're going to come over and have dinner. But do you mean Wellington or Wilmington?
Wilmington. I say it wrong because I just paid to have the horses moved, so it's a little traumatic for me.
Yeah, it could be. But it's either one's about 20, 25 minutes to come over. I'd love to have you on.
Thank you, sir.
No, but you're a terrific guy. Look, it's that show has caught on, and the whole group is great. But I've always watched you. You always were defending me, and a lot of people don't defend me, and I like people that defend me because I think I'm doing the right thing. And we have a lot of bad people in our country, you know. We have a lot of people that you almost say they must hate our country because what they do is so bad for our country. But I just have always...
Well, I'm not allergic to straight talk.
Yeah.
And every man of consequence that I learned from in my life never bullshitted nothing with me. Mm-hmm. Whether it was Dusty Rhodes, whether it was my football coaches, whether it was anybody I was with, they always told it to me straight, even when I didn't like what I wanted to hear. Because I always believed everybody can handle bad news and good news, but no news and bullshit. Don't piss down my back, as my grandmother used to say, and tell me it's rain. And that's one thing that you have never done. You always, if you don't want to hear it, because the American people can accept bad news. Because when we know how bad it is, then we can look forward to getting it better. And that's, in this age of endorsements, you know, that's why you have my endorsement, Mr. President. You can take that, a cup of coffee, and do whatever you want with it.
No, it means a lot to me. It does. But, you know, I think this is going to be the most important election in the history of our country.